Thank you for joining Unity of Sebring. If you find our lessons helpful, please consider donating at www.unityofsebring.org.
Welcome to Unity of Sebring. I'm Tena, Conyer, and I'd like to welcome you here today. I'm so glad you joined us. I'm going to begin our service with our peace prayer. If you'll look at your handouts in your bulletin, the words to the peace prayer are there. As we're still waiting for our lens, for our projector to have things up on the screen once again. It will happen, because I know you're all joining with me in seeing that happen. Getting off that ship and being delivered to us. So if you'll take out your sheet and join me in our peace prayer. Together, please. On this day and every day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear and meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice and experience a sense of unity with all people, in harmony with ourselves, our lives, and all others. We live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. And so it is. Now, if everybody will please rise up, we're going to join together and sing our theme song, My Soul is Welcome Here. And we hope you feel that way today. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Oh yeah, Adam, play it.
I'm in the right place at the right time. You know I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I know my soul is welcome here. I've got the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I know my soul is welcome here. I've got the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I've got the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. All our souls are welcome here. Our souls are welcome here. Thank you. You may be seated. And at this time, I'd like to invite forward Joyce Miles, as she's going to come forward and light our Christ candle. So let's welcome Joyce this morning. As Joyce lights the Christ candle, let it remind us that in each and every one of us, we have inside of us God's light, that Christ light. Each and every one of us has it inside of us. So as she lights our Christ candle, it reminds us to take that light out into the world and share it. Share it with all those who may not be feeling the brightness of their light at the moment and might need that little extra push. So thank you, Joyce, very much for doing that, sharing your light with us this morning. The next song we're going to sing, and don't think I've lost it, because we're singing the same songs that we sang last week, because that is what Sonny requested. So Tina hasn't lost it. We're just going to repeat the same songs again this week, just to give it a little extra measure. So the next song we're going to join together and sing is Our Thoughts Are Prayers. Next, we're on to our daily word. And our daily word for Sunday, November 7th, can you believe it's November already, is divine order. And our affirmation for today is, I live in harmony with divine order. If you can remember that, join with me, please. I live in harmony with divine order. And what I say to that is, you might as well. Life is in constant motion, even if that motion is imperceptible to me. When I feel stuck in a place or impatient with my progress, I consider the gradual yet orderly pattern of the seasons as they change. The single golden leaf I notice one day will become part of a blaze of color just a few weeks later. The brisk chill in the morning air will soon lead to biting cold and snow, unless you live in Sebring. The first tender seedlings of spring will bring bright blossoms and a verdant canopy, followed by the long, sultry days of summer. Little by little, one season turns into the next. My growth and understanding may happen in much the same way. Even if I don't notice changes day to day, my life is always in motion and in order. And our scripture is James 2:22, and it reads, you see the faith that was active along with his works, and faith was brought to completion by the works. Again, our word for today is divine order, and our affirmation one more time is, I live in harmony with divine order. And so it is. Next, we're going to move on to our statement of being, mission statement, and search affirmation. Those are in your bulletin on the opposite side of the order of service, if you care to join with us when we repeat them. We'll start with our statement of being. Together, please. There is only one presence, one power in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent. And Unity of Sebring's mission statement. Together. Unity of Sebring is the radiant expression of the Jesus Christ message of truth, light, and love, shining forth to welcome and bless us all, quickening in each person an awareness of our inherent value, worthiness, and purpose. And next, we're going to join together in our search affirmation. Together, please. Guided by love, inspired by truth, and grounded in faith, we open our hearts to meet, to harmonize, and to unify with our new spiritual leader. And so it is. So now we're going to move on to our next song. You don't have to stand for this one. It's another very prayerful song, to get you in that prayerful spot for service. So it's a Daniel Nahmod song entitled Inside to Find My God.
This world as it Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm alive. I have a couple stories to share with you, first of all, before we get into the serious stuff. You may remember some time ago, I told you about I was rushing to get here, and I got behind a slow-moving vehicle. Well, I was early today. For me, early. And the same, Tina's laughing. The same, I think, slow-moving vehicle was in front of me. He doesn't have a license plate on his trailer, so I couldn't memorize it, but I did look at all the stickers he's got behind the back window. So anyway, ironically, we were actually coming, this is coming across 66 from 98, and we had just passed the speed limit sign with 60 miles an hour, and I thought, oh, isn't this fun? The same slow-moving vehicle, and I think 60 miles an hour is slow. Boy, I need to rethink this. Sure enough, somebody behind me decides to pass. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm pointing. No judgments involved. I'm pointing at the speed limit sign as I go by. See, that's why I never flipped Andy off, because I knew if I flipped somebody off in traffic, it was gonna be Andy. Anyway, so this guy passes. Well, he had to get in between the two of us because there was traffic coming. And then we went around the curve just enough for me to see him behind a slow-moving horse trailer. And I said, I'm sorry, Father. I am so sorry. I know I'm living in my judgments. I'm trying to learn not to judge, and I'm sorry, but I think that's hilarious, God. So that is one of my stories to share with you. And that's what I get for being early. I'm sure he left early thinking that woman is not going to be behind me today. And there I was. Anyway, my talk today, as I was thinking about what I wanted to say. And I thought, well, why don't I talk about what I learned in Unity? Since I've been a member of Unity for some time, and it has changed my life totally, completely, perfectly, all those things, yet to be. And I thought I would share that. And then I was at a loss. How do you sum up your life experiences that I've shared some of them with you, but how do you sum it up? What's the bottom line? And I realized that for me, the bottom line is radical forgiveness. That if I had not had the awareness that I had developed with Unity teachings, I would not have ever come in contact with radical forgiveness. Now, radical forgiveness, for those of you that don't know, is a book that was published by Colin Tipping. And it literally is called Radical Forgiveness. There's been several versions of it. And what it is the story of his sister and other people that he came to realize that the most important thing in life is love. And we all have heard it's either love or fear. That's the two things in life. That's how we act and react, either out of love or out of fear. And so with radical forgiveness, we forgive ourselves because we're living our story, whatever that may be. And with radical forgiveness, there's several steps to it. I should say several. It's 5. The first step is that you tell the story. You tell your story, whether it's to yourself or to somebody else, if you feel comfortable sharing. What is bothering you at this moment in this situation? What are you seeing reflected to you? What is your question? What is life handing to you? Whatever that is, what's the story you have about it? How are you feeling? That's the second step. What are the feelings that you're feeling? And feel them. So many times, as children from youngest age up, we are taught to stifle our feelings. Don't show them in public. Wait till you get home. Don't slam the door. Don't. Or like me, I was sitting in a Unity church, joy singer, and something the minister said touched my heart. It was a family joke that when Lassie would lift her paw, I would climb into my dad's lap and boo-hoo, because at 3.5 years old or 4 years old, I didn't know, but she was leaving. And it was sad music to me. And it was abandonment and leaving, and I don't know, it's going to be on next week. You know, to kids, it's right now. It's not next week. It's not next month. It's now. So feel the feelings. Oh, I started to tell you about feeling the feelings. I'm sitting in Unity Church, and I'm releasing, shall we say, some energy from my eyes. And I was really touched. And one of the other people in the church came up to me and said, "What's the matter? Are you crying?" Literally in that tone of voice. As you can see, I've forgiven her completely. It was a learning lesson. It truly was. That I could not be upset with her. She was coming from her own uncomfortableness that I was reflecting to her. She could not let herself cry. And I made her very uncomfortable by crying very freely. I finally got to the point where crying is okay. Because I cried all the way through school, I cried all the way through my life. So, get over it. So then Colin talks about, after you feel the feelings, collapse the story. Take the energy out of it. Don't let it control your life. That's what the whole process is about, is getting to the base of it, of why this is a problem, why this is a situation. Maybe it's not a problem. It's an awareness. It's an observation. It's a perception. Okay? So collapse the story. Take the energy out of it. State the facts. This is what's happening. This is what was said. This is how I felt. And then reframe the story. Part of that reframing is looking at it from someone else's view. Whether it's the person, the situation, what's the backstory? One of the things I learned with Unity teachings is that when you're talking about the Bible, don't just go for the quotation. Go for the backstory. What led up to Jesus saying whatever? What was going on in the Old Testament? What led up to this situation? Okay? Take, for example, the dude with the son that put him on the altar.
Abraham.
Thank you, Abraham. You can tell I was not going to include him in my talk. Abraham was told to take his son and to sacrifice him. And he puts his son up on the altar, And as he's about to take his life, he stopped and told there's a ram in the shrubbery. And so that becomes the sacrifice. Reframing the story, if that's all you know about the story, is that he was going to kill his son, what kind of God is this, that tells you to go and kill your son? So read the story, the whole story, and nothing but the story. No. Anyway, reframe that story, make it so that you become peaceful with it. Remember, I said a couple weeks ago that when I was on my way from Wisconsin, I had been invited to move there, and the pony wasn't where I was at. So I was going to go where there might be a pony. And it wasn't until I had already driven like 10 hours, and the sun was coming up, and I just felt this peace come over me. And I knew it was the right thing to do and that it would work out. Whatever. I didn't have to get involved in the details. God was going to take care of it, and did. So that's reframing the story. And you change your life by doing that. You change the circumstances. You may have the kind of event come back in your life just to make sure that you really, I learned that. I don't need to do that again. And then we go on to having something else in our lives. Now, Colin said, there is not a human being on the planet that has not been seriously victimized at least once in their lives, and in minor ways more times than can be counted. I was looking at the story of Joseph, the son of Jacob and Rachel. I got that right. And he was the next to the youngest son, but Rachel had been thought to be barren, and she had taken a lot of abuse and ridicule and all those things because she had not borne a child, and especially had not borne a son. So when Joseph was born, he became his father's favorite. And there were 10 other brothers that were not too thrilled with that idea. And eventually, Jacob had a coat made that was a special coat, and we've all heard about the coat of many colors. And he was a visionary. He would dream, and in one of his dreams, he saw his brothers kneeling before him in his dream, and he saw wheat, bales of wheat that bowed down in front of him, and he told his brothers about that. They weren't too happy. It's one of those that didn't sit very well. It got to the point, especially with that special robe that everybody knew now, that the father favored him instead of any of the older brothers that deserved it more because they'd been alive longer. They ended up throwing him in a pit, taking the robe, smearing it with blood, and giving it to Jacob, saying that they had found the robe and so assumed that Joseph was dead. Talk about being a victim of circumstances. He's alive in the pit. Now what do we do? How many of us have been in a pit in our lifetimes? At least once, if not more. There's nobody around. We're yelling at the top of our lungs, "Somebody help me! I'm here, I'm all alone. It's cold, it's hot, it's whatever, I'm thirsty, la la la. We have things happen in our lives that bring us to question, is this how it's going to end? Is this what is going on in my, is this all that I'm worth? And I'm not going to be here anymore? What? And then, miraculously, he hears voices. And there's people. And they come and they save him. And they take him to Egypt, where he becomes a slave. Oh, well, at least he's alive. So then, he gets into the home of a rich person, and the wife takes a liking to him. So she accuses him of unsavory things, and he ends up in jail for 12 years. Now, metaphysically, 12 is the symbol of completeness. That's why there's 12 disciples, 12 months, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he ended up in jail for 12 years. Now, he could have been very bitter. Most people might be, because it was false accusation. He shouldn't be limited to his freedom being taken away and having no recourse. They probably didn't have attorneys back then. No appeal, whatever. But he still could interpret dreams, and he became known in the prison for interpreting dreams and did well with a couple of the people in the jail. So well that the Pharaoh, who had been having these dreams, heard about him and decided to bring him from the jail and ask him if he could interpret these dreams, which he did. He told him there's going to be 7 years of prosperity, and then there's going to be 7 years of famine. And the Pharaoh was so impressed that he made him second to himself as ruler, so that he could have the authority to help everybody plan for those 7 years of famine, which he did. Now, you probably remember the story that his brothers, when the famine hit, his brothers were hungry. Everybody in the area was hungry. And they went to Jacob and asked permission to go to Egypt and see if they could get some food, which they did. Joseph recognized them. How would you feel after 20 years? You see the people that wanted you dead and had taken measures to make sure that you were. And as I was thinking about this, one of the questions that came to mind was, why didn't Joseph contact Jacob? I never thought of that. But if he had, what would Jacob have done? Here's 10 brothers that were all complicit in wanting to murder their brother. How do you face that? And Joseph, who knows if it even crossed his mind? He had a new life. He changed his story. He'd already felt the feelings. He had 12 years to contemplate why he had been saved. And so he had done his forgiveness work. So when his brothers appeared, it was not a problem to him. He wanted to know if they had changed, if they had any feelings of remorse or whatever. I think I may have told you, I had a friend all the way through high school who was a leading lady in the musicals. And when we were sophomores, she actually was the lead lady because we were putting on the Mikado. And she was about this high. And the senior that would have been able to sing the part was about 6'1". And is a Chinese Gilbert and Sullivan, so Cindy fit the role. Well, Cindy felt bad because she had gotten cast, and normally it went to a senior because it was their last musical, their last play. The opening night of the show, we went out and partied a little bit too long, and the next morning, Cindy had laryngitis. So bad that she couldn't sing. So she acted Saturday night, and the lady who should have had the part was over by the orchestra with a microphone and sang the part. How wonderful God worked it out. But Cindy carried that for 20-some years, that she had stolen that away from the other girl and then couldn't even do it. You know, she had one night of it, and then the other girl got to do it. And she felt so bad about it, and I can't tell you how many times we talked about it. And then she ran into the lady 20-some years later. And they were talking, and she said, this lady was so nice to her. She was so excited to see her and so glad to see her. They're both teachers, and they talked about their students, and they had mutual students, and blah, 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 blah. And she was totally blown away because this person did not act vengeful or mad or anything like that, to the point where Cindy finally brought it up and said, you know, it still bothers me. And she said that, you know, that I lost my voice and you got to sing the part, but it bothers me that you never got to act it too. The other girl didn't know what she was talking about. She had so completely released it, it did not exist for her. That's what we do to reframe our stories. If we have some childhood trauma, and that's the ones that I'm working on right now, and I'm coming to understand from different psychologists and different reading that we all have childhood trauma. Whatever name we put on it, it's childhood trauma. Maybe to the point like in the reading circle when the principal told me not to look ahead. So from then on, I had trouble seeing things because I couldn't look ahead until I started meditating. Once I got into Unity, I started meditating and asked for my vision to be improved. And fortunately, my inner vision improved too. One of the things that Colin says is life will always, always prove out your belief system. Now, I don't know how many of you remember a couple weeks ago I talked about what BS actually is. It's our belief system. So if your belief system needs changed, you might be talking about some BS in your life. But we create our reality according to our beliefs. If you want to know what you believe, look at your life. Look what you have. Look what you don't have. Look what you think you want. Look what you need. And know the dotted line is We're all going to get there. Life is eternal. This is just a speed bump. If you believe in it, there's a lot of speed bumps that we've had before, and there's a lot of speed bumps to come. But your life shows what you believe. And you can change the story anytime. Life is a choice. That is the bottom line. We can choose to love, or we can choose to live in fear. I think I know what most of us want. And remember, our thoughts, our prayers. Thank you. And I won't forget this time. We have a song to sing. Those of you that don't remember, I walked away from the meditation. And now as we take this time to turn within, we allow our bodies to just relax. Taking a deep breath and letting it go, we relax our bodies. Aware of any tension that we hold in our bodies, we just flex and release so that we can relax and turn within to that wellspring of joy that is within. For God has created us to have a peaceful, joyful, abundant life. And we choose moment by moment how that manifests in our life. We realize that all relationships are here with us to help us to know peace, to remain centered, to allow any resentments, any guilt feelings, any shame, whatever comes to mind that is not what we choose, we release and let it go. And we take a deep breath in and let go on that exhale. Let go all of the tensions that we have brought with us. We allow them to float away and become the nothingness that they truly are. We are so grateful for this time and this place, for the opportunity for us to share in the energy of God, to share in the environment that God has created for us. We are so grateful for all the friendship, the love that is expressed within us and shared by us with others. For we are love. We are God love in human form. We are here to learn and to serve. And as we journey deeper into this time, we allow our knowingness to show us what we have need of in our life expression. If someone comes to mind, the first thing we do is bless them. We see the Christ within them, the Spirit of God within them. And as we see the Spirit of God growing within them, we realize that it is simply reflecting the Spirit of God within us. And we are so grateful that we can share this bond of love, of knowingness, of awareness with each other. What a gift we have been given. Life here on planet Earth is such a gift. For all we know, we stood in line to get the gift given to us. We make the most of this gift by being the real person that we are. We let our soul, we let the communication of God fill our very being, making it so clear what our path is, leading us to our highest good and for the good of all that we come in contact with, whether spoken, unspoken, or unknown. We have no idea how many lives we touch on a daily basis. And we give thanks that we are the best person that we can be. Each time we know what our purpose is to love ourselves so that we can love others. So we are a role model to others, so they can know what God love looks like, feels like, and how to go about finding that within themselves. God, we are so grateful for this world that you've created for us, and that you've given us the opportunity to experience, and not only experience, but have memories that we can relish, we can relinquish, we can release, we can reframe. As we grow in awareness, we come to understand all that are involved in this creation of yours. And as we find God peace within, we create the vibrations for the entire world. And we send those vibrations like the waves on the sea. We send those vibrations out. And we don't need to know where they go or who they touch. We just know that because we are love, the whole world is love. And God loves the world. God is experiencing the world through us. We are the gift God gives every day, every moment, every second of our life. And we are reminded that life is eternal. So the worries of the day can be released. For we know that there is abundance in all things. What we have need of has already been provided. All we need to do is ask and accept. And we may not know what is going to manifest from our request, but all prayers are answered. Whether it's the way we thought they would be or something better. And so as we prepare to return to this time and this place, we know that wherever we are, God is with us. And all has been given to us, and we can ask to have our path made so clear, so plain to us. There is no doubt, for life is eternal. And we all are going to get there. And so we take a deep breath. We return our awareness to this time and this place and prepare to give thanks for all the blessings we have received. And so it is.
The truth. As the choir comes forward to get ready to bless us with their offertory music, we're going to join together in our offertory statement. If you'd like to take your offering and hold it in your hand and bless it, send love to it, send power to it, and join together with me in our offertory statement, which is printed in your bulletin. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And may it be so for you. For the month of November, we will be supporting Change of Pace, which is a wonderful organization here. The information on it is in your bulletin. We pick an organization each month to share prosperity with, and this month it's Change of Pace, and we're just collecting monetary funds for Change of Pace. If you're so guided to give, please make the check out to them, put it in the offering basket, and I'll make sure they receive it. Also, on the information station, if you're new and don't know what the information station is, it's the table back there where Kim is sitting, and it's got pamphlets and everything on it. But on the information station, we have a sign-up for Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to do a potluck Thanksgiving dinner here at the center, so if you're interested in attending, write down what you'd like to bring, how many people are going to be in your party, and your telephone and information number in case we need to get in touch with you prior to the event. And we do ask that the foods be brought prepared. I know that you don't think you need to say that, but one year we got a frozen turkey the day of the dinner. So just saying, please bring the foods prepared and ready to serve. If you have any questions about that, is it okay if Patty will be happy to answer them for you. She's going to be helping head that up. So if you could do that and just sign up, and we'll leave those sign-up sheets up until Thanksgiving. Also, even though it's in your announcements, we are still holding the Reiki Share after service out in the portable classroom if you would like to attend. And there's one more little, first I'll ask, are there any other announcements? Yes, Bill.
Yes, I think I speak for everybody here when I say thank you for all you do for us.
My honor. It's my honor. And I would like to thank somebody in a special way. Tomorrow, Adam has a birthday. You don't have to play it on the piano, Adam, but we're going to sing happy birthday to you. You don't have to play it. We'll sing it a cappella if we have to. So could everybody join together and sing happy birthday for Adam? Rise up and sing for him.
What about everybody else in November?
And everybody in November. Why not? Everybody in November. We're going to start doing that again after the first of the year. I think I'd like to bring back the birthday cake and all of that good stuff for the first of the month. So, everybody ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adam. And everybody, happy birthday to you. Now, while everybody's standing, we'll do our prayer of protection to close out our service. Together, please. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Now we'll form a circle of love, and we'll close out the service with, "Let there be love on earth."
And as we leave this place today, know that everyone is the Spirit of God in human form, and all is well.
Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again soon. For more information, please go to www.unityofsebring.org.